This is Earl Amin with the 2020 Foresight Podcast, where CEOs of small to global companies share their insights. It is 6 questions in 9 minutes because top CEOs know how to listen and be concise. So let's get to it. First of all, welcome. And in just a few sentences, tell us who you are and what you do.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Jim Feinstein, and I'm the CEO of ENT Partners, a physician practice management company exclusive to private practices in the ear, nose, throat, and sleep specialty clinic area. I've dedicated my 30-year career to multi-site healthcare services, which included eye care, ophthalmology, dermatology, and now otolaryngology.
And for those who may not know, ENT is ear, nose, throat, correct?
That is correct.
Awesome. I'm glad I was right. So tell me, Jim, what's the best thing about being the CEO of the company you've built?
Well, I think personally building teams by bringing a diverse group of people together, forming a sense of community within the team and guiding and motivating that small or large group toward a common goal, championing and observing their growth and development and their cohesive collaboration and contribution within our niche ecosystem towards that successful common goal.
Indeed. Now, across your 30 years, I'm sure you've encountered other CEOs. I know I have, who often say that leading a team and being able to see the road ahead, what lies ahead, can be a challenge. What are your thoughts?
Not only challenging, but oftentimes impossible. If we look at the current environment with the pandemic, I don't know many finance or executive leaders that have a line item for COVID-19. We may now, hindsight is 2020, for lack of a better term, but I think the lack of predictability or uncertainty is similar to change. I mean, the only thing that really stays the same is change. And I think, in my opinion, it's less about the unknown and more about how we react to the unknown. Oftentimes plans and forecasts aren't worth the papers that they're printed on or the spreadsheets that they're embedded upon, but how we as leaders react to these instances boldly, confidently, and or compassionately. Understanding mistakes and or missteps may provide greater learnings than our successes oftentimes.
Very good. Well said. Well, throughout your career, all of the wisdom that you've gathered through experience, what particular piece of insight do you want to share with other CEOs?
Well, I think first and foremost, it's surrounding yourself with people that are as smart or smarter than yourself. Oftentimes CEOs have large egos, and if your ego is too big, it may cloud your vision in building, truly productive teams. And I think by providing that opportunity to surround yourself with different perspectives and different backgrounds, having that bench strength is oftentimes underestimated. So important to future success. So by hiring smart people that you can train and you can provide resources, but you can't teach smart. And ultimately, I think if we focus on hiring our replacements and we're comfortable with that philosophy of hiring our potential replacements, businesses, teams, and individuals would be a lot better off.
So would you say that that's the key to hiring well, is to hire someone who has the capacity, if not the intention, to replace you?
Ideally, yes, I agree 100%. And I think a lot of that comes from, what I've learned through being a private equity partner over the past decade is that they really focus on an intensive hiring process and being deliberate and methodical and involving a lot of key constituents in the process. As an impatient person, sometimes that challenges my inherent wiring, but ultimately the benefits by including a broader group of people and taking your time to hire right. You can't hire right all the time. It's one of the most difficult things for any business. But I think that's one of the takeaway from my experience with private equity-backed organizations.
Very good. Very good. Well, I'm sure you've encountered other other CEOs who are on the rise? What other successful CEOs like yourself would you like to acknowledge or give a shout out to and should be on my podcast?
Sure. Well, Jim Walkman is one who is an extremely sound operator who led a public company called TLC Laser Eye Centers and Laser Vision Centers. With all due respect, maybe not the most technologically savvy. Therefore, this Zoom meeting could have outkicked his coverage a little bit. But in addition to that, Bill Leonard. Bill Leonard is the current CEO and founder of Greenbrook TMS Neuro Health Centers. And I learned a lot from Bill, a tremendous emphasis on the team concept, the delegate and leverage, and really helped me perfect that delegate and leverage philosophy. And I think his background in college sports was really an interesting and transferable experience for him to bring to the organization that he led, which impacted my career and development in a positive fashion.
Awesome. Excellent. Thank you for that. So now, Jim, for the final question, how do you celebrate a win?
Well, hopefully often, first and foremost. But I think timely communications, highlighting wins, as small as they might be, internally and or externally. If it's a small win, I think there's a sense of humanity that is lost oftentimes by simply saying thank yous or nice jobs or great efforts via email, phone call, text, or a handwritten note. I think there's a lot of personal touch that goes a long way when I send a handwritten note. Spot rewards, oftentimes variable amounts, unscheduled, unplanned, whether it's time off, money, monetary, just small tokens of appreciation go a long way. And then in other instances, I deal with physicians a lot. So sometimes, celebrating wins includes red meat and fine wine. Dining experiences are memorable and seem to go over very well with, past, present team members and our physician partners.
Outstanding. So it's a pleasure having you on, Jim, but how can people find you?
Well, we can be found on the web at entpartners.com. I'm relatively active on LinkedIn as well. And ultimately, we appreciate the opportunity to participate today and wish you continued success with the podcast.
Indeed. Very good. This is Earl Amin with the 2024 Sight Podcast. For more insights, go to LinkedIn and search for The Gray Owl Company. Jim, thank you very much.
Thank you.